Wonderful guest speaker this morning. We have Reverend Martha Creek, Dr. Martha Creek. Martha, I call her Martha because she's a sister. Because I met Martha when I was working with a church that was having lots of problems. And Martha came to their rescue. And in our unity movement, we've had ministers who've been in this process that we call an ethical review system, ERS. And, you know, to get in that system, all you have to do is have the wrong person dislike you on the right day. But then they need somebody to support them. And Martha has been prime in supporting our churches, our unity churches, and our unity ministers in being healthy, vibrant congregations. And so for her work in that, I'm in awe. And not only that, she loves to come and push our buttons. So please welcome Reverend Dr. Martha Creek. Martha. Who calls me honey.
I do call her honey. And you know, these titles, like what do you think a title gets you? What does it get you? So it's like, I don't deny it. It's an education. It was a process, something very, very valuable to me. And it's not who I am. Does that make sense? It's not who I am. It's a profession, and certainly in ministry, you know, it's like you've heard that about ministers. We're called. It's like you were called to be nurses, parents, the way you were called to be counselors, coaches. We were called in the very same way. So it's a profession in that way. We're also called to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. So, if you need comfort, here it is. If you need affliction, here it is. And it's good and wise to know the difference. So I'm absolutely just so alive and blessed and privileged to be with you here today. So think about Unity of Melbourne, as an organization, as an organism. So think about where you were as an organization, as an organism, an organization just 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Where were you as an organization then? An organism.
We were in a neighborhood.
And look at your organization today. Would you call it a miracle? You know, I think you're miracle makers. I'm a miracle maker. I think you're a miracle maker. I hang out with miracle makers. I'm called to go into organizations that understand what miracle making is about. And you folks have lived it out. It is fantastic beyond anything. There's nothing going on in Unity Movement right here, right now. There's nothing going on in the Unity Movement right here, right now that can surpass the story of Unity of Melbourne. Do you understand that? And then besides that, there's nothing in the church arena. Read the research. Look at what's going on in the context and the concepts of church. But Unity of Melbourne, miracle making. So for those, what you have done, that Reverend Bess so blatantly put out, the blood you've put in, the sweat you've put in, the prayer you've put in, the money you've put in, the time you've put in, the painting you've put in. Think about it. And remember what was prompting you. What was prompting you to do that? What prompts you to crawl in one more time, to crawl in one more hour, to pick up one more paintbrush, to pick up one more person and bring them to church, to make one more phone call, to make one more prayer, to learn one more song, to rehearse one more time, to unplug and replug one more time. What is it that's prompting you to do that? So what is it you want for Unity of Melbourne? What is it you want? What miracle is it you want to see that comes up and through here, as you, through you, with you, for you? What is it that you would call forth for Unity of Melbourne? Say it out loud. To create a broader consciousness for our community, to awaken, to shine, to be a beacon of light, to reproduce, yes, to sustain, to be here the next 100 years, to leave legacy. What else do you want? Family, a relationship with God, a connection. More children, more youth. Well, guess what? The youth want more youth too. I met with them yesterday. Do you have an idea about what's going on in this youth department here? These lights that are back there? There's a few on the back row. Stand up, y'all. That's my little amen corner. Stand up. Let them see you. There. Now here's what those congregational leaders told me yesterday. When I asked them, what do you want for Unity of Melbourne? They said they want to be coached, not taught. They want to be coached, not taught. They want coaches, not teachers. They want to have options. They want to exercise their divine right of free will and to have options where they have maybe, where in this place called Unity of Melbourne may be the only place in their life. They get an option. They want to be involved. They want to have people paying attention. They want to pay more attention. They want to have less distractions. They want to have more participation from them and from you. They want to have more commitment, more consistency. Some of them can use help with transportation. They want to come to church and don't have a way to get here. You are their way to get here. With just a little organization, you're driving right by their houses and don't even know it. So think about that. They want to put the devices down. And they want respect. And they want to be respectful. And what they want for Unity of Melbourne is to, and for themselves as a youth experience and a youth ministry, is to have a happier time. To be happier in general. They want connection also. They want to look at old things in new ways. And they want for us to be less like strangers and more like a family. And they want an experience of peace and joy. And they want to be able to carry that experience of peace and joy out into the world, out into their classrooms, out into their households, out into their families. And they're very intentional about doing so. So please find a way, straight away, to get involved with this youth experience here. And they're on the back row now, and they'll be out there at the end of the service to answer questions and to let you know what they're thinking, to give you some of their ideas. And one of them brought in a little menu for you today. This is her business. So she has got dolls and posters and drawings and t-shirts and jewelry and shoes and paintings for sale, all that she has created. So you will have a way to see who would like what she's offering. It may not be you, but you know someone who would love what she's offering. So you can lift up an entrepreneur. You can be the wind under those sails, be the wind under those wings, and lift that up. And she'll be out there at the end of the service. Also, this Martha Creek Talking. Did y'all get this the last time I was here? It's Martha Creek Talking. 12 talks of me around various Unity churches in the movement. And it's on an MP3. If you don't know what an MP3 is, don't take one. Because it would frustrate you. Because it won't play in your CD player. It will play in a computer, most computers. It'll play in newer cars. And if you've got a teenager, and they're sitting right back there, they can put it on their computer and then burn it off on a CD for you. So I put it on an MP3 so they're compact, lightweight. I carry them around. And you're welcome to take one, and they'll be on the table out there. Now, here's the deal. If you pick one of these up, I expect you that is you're showing a commitment to sow seeds of unity, to sow seeds of peace, to take this out in the world and hand it out. You don't have to pay a dime for it. It's the opposite of copyrighted. Duplicate it. Give it away. Email it. Post it. Join me as a co-inspirator of how to get our message out of sight of these walls, out aside of our communities, and to get it to reach across the world. So that's the intent of them. And for those of you that can, give a donation for it. I use that money, I go make more of them, and take them to the next place. So that's how that works, and they'll be out there. Now, let's get real. So think about then how we're going to live out love. Because before you leave here today, somebody will cross you. Have you noticed? It's the darndest thing. We're in such a high time. Like, oh, ain't this wonderful? Ain't this wonderful? Oh my God, we're in a new sanctuary. Beth's been here 17 years. Talk about a miracle. Talk about a miracle. Just for fun, go find a minister that's been somewhere for 17 years. Just make it a project. Go find one. And if you find one, ask them what it's been like. Ask them what it's been like. So the highs of the highs and the other. And everything in between. And such an uncommon stamina, an uncommon motivation, an uncommon stamina that can't even be understood, I don't think. Just like maybe you can relate to what is taken for you as a parent, as a grandparent, as an educator, as a doctor, as a nurse, as a counselor, whatever it is you do. The uncommon stamina, the uncommon motivation to get up one more day, put one more step in front of the other. I get a sense of that as you honor her today and as you bless her in this path, and how she is here to serve and how she's also here to be served by you. That you continue to honk her along. So do you know what I mean by that? You know, when geese fly, they fly in a V formation. And the head goose knows I can't stay in the head all along. I've got to rotate. Somebody's got to step up here. Because there's such drag in that head position, they cannot take the drag for long periods of time. They have to rotate. This is the reason to rotate within your leadership, to have a very vital, strong board of trustees, a very strong board of directors, a very strong music ministry, and choirs, and vocalists, and ushers, and greeters, and youth, and somebody to wash these windows. Thank you, Marion. And someone to come in one more time, and to be here early, and to stay late, and. So, together we can do what I cannot do alone. Together you can do what she cannot do alone. Together you can do what no one can do alone. So think about that as what from what you're going to create now from unity of Melbourne as you go forth. And let's get on a solid ground about our reality. So we sing and pray every single Sunday. There's one power and one presence in all the universe and in my life and in my affairs, and it is God. And then somebody will cross us. Somebody will give us the look. Somebody will dart at the parking space you was about to get in. Somebody will, you've told them 150 times you are vegan, and they'll hand you a piece of cheese. Something awful will happen like that. So that shouldn't happen. Fantasy or reality? All together? Fantasy. Now like a choir. Fantasy! 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 It's fantasy that those things should not happen. So what's the consequences on you if you continue to believe in fantasy? Disappointment, stress, despair, craziness, loco, anger, resentment. You're honest people. What are the consequences on your life if you don't come out of this fantasy? Sickness, illness, despair. What's the consequences to that generation if you don't come out of this fantasy? We hand it down 7 more generations. We hand down that fantasy. So what would it be like when you leave here and something awful happens? If you don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. You don't have to call it good. Oh, it's all good. It's like, well, tell your face, because it ain't caught up to your affirmation. So no, we don't have to call it good. I don't have to like it. I don't have to love it. And I don't have to be a hostage to it either. So the suffering is in the fantasy. There's another way. Reality rules. If I don't have to like it, don't have to love it, reality still rules. So what is actually is. So get a sense of just landing on that this morning, like it's a landing pad, like you've been hovering between fantasy and reality, and the allure to go in the fantasy, the allure, the temptation to go into the fantasy. My spouse should understand me. Fantasy or reality? Fantasy. All together? Fantasy. Yes. Children should be well behaved. Illusion. Fantasy. 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 Traffic should flow. It should be warm in Florida in winter. What is, is. Close your eyes and say it. Close your eyes and say, what is, is. What is, is. Now turn to somebody by you. Look them in their eye. Just connect with them like a human being. Just see another human being there with you. And tell them there's another way. There's another way. There's another way. Now, look back at that same person and say, I know the other way. I know the other way. I know the other way. Now, look back at them and remember what has taken you, what skin you've put in the game here to make that very long journey from your previous organization, that organism previously known as Unity of Melbourne, what has taken you to get here. So I want you to acknowledge yourself first, what has taken you to make that trip, what it took you to step into that vision, what it took you to write that check, what it took you to show up with a paintbrush. Then I want you to silently look at someone by you, silently, and acknowledge them. Silently thank them. Thank them. Thank them for the skin they've put in the game. Thank them for the way they've shown up. Thank them for the effort, for the blood, the sweat, the tears, the prayers, the money, the energy that it's taken. And now back to them and give them a big old high five. High five. Give them a high five. You did it. You absolutely did it. You did it. And then hang around if you can. Hang around if you can, because this workshop this afternoon is to finish you off. You know what I mean? You know, where we can say, I'm full of it. I'm full of it. And mean it. I'm full of it. I'm full of love. I'm full of peace. Peace is more important to me than anything else in the world. It's a little workshop for us to finish off that little part of us that's still caught in the fantasy. Now, 99% of your spiritual work may be done. Be sure to stay, because you may ascend this afternoon, and we want to film it. So even if you have only 1% left of you that's in fantasy, that's where 100% of your pain is. The one relationship, the one knucklehead, the one whatever it is, that's where 100% of our pain is. So stay if you can. It's only a couple of hours of your life. 2 hours. Cancel something. And if you know someone that you believe has suffered just enough, so don't stay if you haven't suffered enough. Matter of fact, don't even stay to eat. Just run on out of here. Because this work is for people who have suffered plenty, just enough. I've had enough suffering to last me the rest of my days, as far as I know. Then stay. And then text or call somebody and tell them to get on over here. Just say, no questions, just get on over here. Don't have to comb your hair, just get on over here. Wear your pajamas. Just get on over here for these couple of hours and be in this community here with Unity of Melbourne that are about miracle makers and miracle making, and hang around. And let's make one for you this afternoon. You're just so very welcome to stay, and I hope you will. I hope you will. I love you. I cannot help it. And it's been such a privilege to be part of your miracle making and to be part of your organization as you continue to water and tend and weed and shed light on yourselves as an organization, and shed light on our on our movement and our world as a beacon of light and hope and faith and action and devotion. It's a real privilege, real privilege.